The bazooka, the $8 weapon that terrified the Nazis, November 1942. The shores of North Africa echoed with gunfire as American troops stormed ashore in their first major operation of World War II, Operation Torch. Hidden inside wooden crates marked Top Secret was a strange weapon that most of these soldiers had never seen before. A 54-inch steel tube weighing barely 13 pounds that would soon change the way armies thought about tanks. Its name? The bazooka. At first, the men had no idea what to do with it. There were no manuals, no training, and no instructors. Some soldiers opened the crates only as bullets began flying. Inside, they found the crude launcher, a few rockets, and little else. Many of the first rounds failed, damaged by seawater or simply too unreliable. But when the bazooka worked, it worked brilliantly. That day marked the beginning of a revolution in infantry firepower.
Birth of a tank killer. Just a few months earlier in Maryland, two officers, Colonel Leslie Skinner and Lieutenant Edward Uhl, had built the first prototype almost from junk. A spare steel tube, a coat hanger bent into makeshift sights, and a bit of electrical wiring. In a test before skeptical generals, Uhl aimed his scrap launcher at a moving tank. The rocket leapt from the tube and smashed into the armor with stunning accuracy. The crowd of officers laughed at its looks, but when they saw the results, they immediately ordered thousands into production. The name bazooka stuck after a silly musical instrument from a comedian of the time. By late 1942, General Electric was producing thousands each month. At $25 per launcher and only $8 per rocket, the weapon was cheap, simple, and deadly. Unlike a heavy anti-tank gun, the bazooka could be carried by two infantrymen and fired within seconds. In one afternoon, a soldier could learn to use it. For the first time, ordinary infantrymen had a fighting chance against enemy armor. Baptism by fire. The bazooka's true test came not against French tanks in North Africa, but against the feared panzers of the Wehrmacht. At Kasserine Pass in early 1943, Rommel's Afrika Korps captured several intact launchers and sent them back to Germany. The German engineers were stunned. Here was a weapon that weighed a fraction of an anti-tank gun, cost almost nothing to make, yet could knock out a tank at 100 meters. Within months, they copied it, scaling it up into the fearsome Panzerschreck. Meanwhile, American soldiers carried their launchers into Sicily. In one legendary shot, a paratrooper fired straight into the vision slit of a Tiger tank, knocking it out instantly. German commanders began warning their crews that infantry now carried portable rocket weapons. Suddenly, the battlefield had changed. Tanks could no longer charge forward without infantry support, from tank hunter to bunker buster. By 1944, the bazooka was everywhere. In Italy, Canadian and American troops used it not only against armor, but also against stone buildings and machine gun nests. Soldiers blasted holes through walls to create new paths in deadly city fighting. On D-Day, thousands of bazooka teams crossed the beaches of Normandy. In the thick hedgerows of France, the weapon destroyed roughly 1 in 8 German tanks. It wasn't perfect. The rockets sometimes misfired, and in the freezing cold of the Battle of the Bulge, soldiers had to keep them warm under their coats. But even then, the weapon proved decisive. Dozens of German tanks were knocked out not by artillery or bombers, but by young infantrymen carrying what looked like a steel pipe. Legends and legacy. The bazooka even went airborne. Major Charles "Bazooka Charlie" Carpenter strapped 6 of them to his tiny L-4 Grasshopper reconnaissance plane. He dove on German columns, firing rockets into tanks and trucks, becoming a legend among the troops. By the war's end, nearly 500,000 launchers and 15 million rockets had been produced. German war diaries reveal the psychological toll. Tanks abandoned at the mere rumor of bazooka teams nearby. What had begun as a crude prototype with a coat hanger sight had ended as one of the most feared infantry weapons of the war, and its legacy didn't end in 1945. The Soviet RPG, the British Law, the Swedish Carl Gustaf all owe their design to the bazooka. It was proof that in modern war, simplicity could defeat complexity. Where the Germans built masterpieces like the Tiger tank, the Americans mass-produced a cheap tube that gave every infantryman the power to kill armor. The bazooka wasn't just a weapon, it was a symbol, a reminder that victory doesn't always come from the most advanced machines, but sometimes from the simplest ideas placed in the hands of ordinary soldiers.